z-score sheet out. Thank you. And a calculator. The number of text messages teens send and receive every day can be represented by a normal distribution with a mean of 100 per day and a standard deviation of 25. I'm sure all of you are over the mean of 100 text messages a day. Or Snapchat messages a day. That's great. Who thinks they send more than 100 messages a day? Okay, that's not that bad. I thought there was going to be more than that. Even 100, like, Snap messages? Because I know that's, like, the new thing, and there's no really text messaging anymore. It's, like, all Snap. Which I think is crazy. Okay, draw out your curve. What number should go in the middle? Perfect. You're right. And my graph isn't perfect, but it looks something like that. Hopefully you got for number 1. Remember, your deviation tells you how far apart you are from the mean. So each time I'm adding 25 or I'm subtracting 25, depending on which direction you're going from the mean. Hopefully you got 1 correct. 2 says, according to the distribution, what percent of teen population sends more than 125 texts a day? So I could put like my little dash, my little tick mark here, and I would shade a little bit to the right here, more. So what did you guys do to get that percent? Because there's a couple of things. I don't know why this does it on this. I swear, I think I jinx your pen every single time. It does it for you too. Okay, so what she did is she added all those together. What'd you get? 16%. Very good. Anyone else do it a different way? Yeah. 50 minus 34? And then what'd you get? Same thing. Good. She took the whole 50% here, and she subtracted the 34 piece. That makes sense too. Either way works. There's so many different ways you can do that, but what is that rule called that tells us we can do that? The empirical rule. Very good. Okay. I'm going to do the first part of 3 with you. What is the z-score for 130 text messages? So I'm going to first write out my formula, because the more you write it, the better you get at memorizing it. X minus mu all over sigma. The mu means mean. The sigma means standard deviation. Okay, what is the data value point I'm looking for? 130. What is our mean? And what's our deviation? Very good. Take a moment and please figure out what the z-score is. Bless you. Bless you. I heard it. 1.2. Now my recommendation is there's only 2 things here. I would want 3. Usually you want 3 total in order for you to get a good z-score. So a lot of people get confused when you just have 1.2. I would just go ahead and add a 0 for yourself. Think of money. You wouldn't want to just have $1.2. You want $1.20. Okay, you want to finish it off. So go ahead and that's all we did for the z-score. Go ahead and do 48. You do 48 on your own. So same thing, but with 48. Kind of like how we did in the chart for homework. Did you get negative 2.08? Awesome. Yay, we're rocking it. Okay, what percent of teen population sends between 48 and 130 text messages? So when we see between, you remember what we have to do at the very end. So very good. You're going to have to subtract at the very end once we find each of their percents. So first we define both the percents. The good thing is that we already found their z-score, so half the work is done. So all we got to do is we got to go on our chart and find 1.20. So I'll work with you on the first one. So 1.20 first, make sure you're on the correct side. So here's 1.2 in yellow. Then I'm going to look for 0 in blue, and where do they merge? 88.49. So 88.49% is that one that we're talking about now. So 88, so was that 48? Or was that 138? Sorry, that's 130. For that data point 130, our percent was what? Thank you. Then go ahead and find the percent for 48. Remember, now you're on the negative side. Negative 2.0 is here. So I'm going to go all the way. And then here is 8. So this is how I like to do my highlighting so you can see where they merge. Yellow and blue make green. Everyone see where that's coming from right here. Sometimes it helps looking at the highlighted portion. The blue and the yellow make green. So where they merge. Yep, 1.88. Very good. Okay, what am I going to do with those percents? I'm going to subtract them. And what do you get? Okay. Questions on that one? That's all from yesterday. Now challenge. How many text messages does a z-score of 1.52 represent? I want you to tell me how you did it. Okay, so Joey did that because, look, the z-score is what's given. The z-score is 1.52. And in our formula, the z-score always goes right here. We want to know how many text messages we're going to be sent when our z-score is 1.52. Well, our text messages represents the data point right here. Huh? Did no one say the answer? Take a minute and see if you can solve for x. Okay, so take a minute and see if you can solve for x. I was just listening to their awesome conversation. Look up only when you're done. I hear a lot of good conversations right now, and they're amazing. Good in 138 what? Candy bars? Okay, text messages. Okay, that's what you found. You want to know what was this? How many texts were sent when our z-score was 1.52? Flip when you're ready, please. Okay. So what is percentile? So for example, what does it mean when you say you have an ACT score in the 80th percentile? A lot of you just got your SAT scores. So this is not really ACT, but think about SAT for a second. What does it mean when it says you're in the 80th percentile? You're above average for sure. What does 80th percentile mean? Okay, yeah, the average would be, the mean would be about 50th percentile, okay. So when my daughter was born in the hospital, they tell you, like, she's in the 90th percentile for height. She's in the 80th percentile for weight. She was lower than that. What does that mean? What do you think that means? They tell you something like that. So average would be the 50th percentile. Kind of close to that. Good. Okay, so think about it in terms of that's how many percent of people are underneath you. That's the percent of people that are lower than you. That means you scored better than 80% of your peers. Okay, so the higher you are, the better it is. So when you go back and you look up your SAT score, you can see what percentile you are in. And it'll tell you if you're in the 80th percentile. That means only 20% of people scored better than you. Okay, so that's a good thing. Okay, so make sure you understand what that means to be in a percentile, because they're usually ranking you against the nation, correct? Not just ranking you against Lockport. So in the whole nation, if you were in the 80th percentile, that means that you scored better than 80% of your peers in the whole entire nation. Okay? It's an infinite campus too. If you go an infinite campus, if your SAT is in there, it'll say what percentile you're in, as long as you have those scores that are in. So again, it's the percent. Sorry, guys. Of scores that fall below a given score. Okay. So again, 80% of all scores are lower than yours. So again, if you're in the 80th percentile, you score better than 80% of people. Cool? It's good to understand what that means. Hopefully now when you go and look at those percentiles, you actually understand now what that means. It says you're in the 40th percentile. That means that you scored better than 40%, but 60% scored better than you. Okay, so understand what that means. So the number of texts teens send and receive each day is the same thing as our warm-up, 100 texts per day and a standard deviation of 25. Calculate the 50th percentile for the data set. Explain your reasoning. Think about that. If I asked you for the 50th percentile, and we just kind of talked about it, I think Savannah said the same thing earlier too. How many texts do you think we would send a day if we're in the 50th percentile? 100. Why 100? Because that's the mean. So your 50th percentile is going to be your mean, which in this situation is going to be 100 texts per day. Okay. It is. So would a teen in the 90th percentile send and receive more or fewer than 100 texts per day? If you were the 90th percentile, would you send more or less than 100 per day? More, right? Okay, so remember 50% is right in the middle. That's the mean. If you're at 90, that's above it. So you're going to be sending more text messages per day. So more. Because 90% is bigger than the mean. Sorry, we're getting a new pen. I'm trying. Bear with me. More because 90% is bigger than the mean is what that says. So that means that 90% of people send less messages a day who thinks they're in the 90th percentile. I mean, come on. Some of you know it just because my pen isn't working. Okay, would a team in the 10th percentile send and receive more or fewer than 100? Fewer. I'm just going to say fewer because this pen is just really janky and I do not want to try to write out that. What did you say? Fewer. Okay, so remember 50 is in the middle. 50th percentile is right dab in the middle. That's your average. So it says use a z-score table to determine the 90th percentile for teen text messages. First, determine the percent value in the z-score table that's closest to 90%. Okay, so when we talk about that, we want to find the z-score closest to 90th percentile, the 90%. How do I write 90% as a decimal? 0.90. So we have to find the z-score that is closest to 0.90. It's a little bit different than what we've been doing. So usually we look at the top and the side, and we try to figure out what, based off the z-score, what the percent is. Well, now we got to look at the percent and see what the z-score is. So again, usually we're here and we're trying to find what the percent is, but now we're going to be looking at here to find the z-score. So try to find inside the table. It looks like it's going to be positive. Why would it be positive? Because 90% is bigger than the mean. Remember, your deviation relies on that. If you're in the 90th percentile, it should be positive because you're greater than the mean. So you're looking somewhere inside this table for 0.90, the thing that's closest to it. So here we go. You see that, how these two are really close to it? Which one's closer? Yeah, the 0.8997. That's only 0.0003 away, whereas this one's 0.0085. Well, it'd be 85 away, correct? 0.0085. So this guy, I'm actually going to highlight it for you. If I can find it right here. So all you gotta do now, we found the percent that's closest to it. Now we're doing the opposite and finding the z-score. So here I go. I'm going to go to the left. And I got 1.2. And then what's my final number on the top? 8. So 1.28 is my z-score. And we'll do another one like that. Don't worry. But that is our z-score for the 90th percentile. So for 0.90, the closest to z equals, again, I'm sorry for my pen, 1.28. I'm trying really hard to get this to work. Let me see if I do this, if it works. Okay, undo it. Oh no, that won't work. Like the old Nintendos we used to blow into it. Anybody that used to have Nintendo? At least I'm not that old then, right? All right, it's better right now. We'll see. Okay, so it says calculate the 90th percentile and show your work. So let me ask you something before that. What does 1.28 mean? It's a z-score. What does z-scores mean? It's your standard deviation, but remember the z-score is how far away you are from the mean. That means it's 1.28 deviations away from the mean. That's what the z-score means. Is it above or below? Above, because it's positive. All right, so now let's go ahead and solve for it. Just like we did for the warm-up. That's what we set up for us. I'm going to first write this out for you. I'm going to write out the formula. Z equals, oh, look at that. Oh, yay. It's back to somewhat normal. Okay, so now I'm just going to rewrite it. That's my formula. I know Z now. It's 1.28. So, it's going back. I jinxed myself. We don't know how many text messages there are, so I'm going to put the X there. But we know the mean, it's what? That's the percentile, but how many? 100 texts. And our deviation's 25. Go ahead and solve that for me, please. Let everybody try it. I am really sorry, guys. I am really trying really hard. Huh? These are like $40 pens. I buy them and then they're gone. They disappear. I'm in 3 rooms. It's very hard to just keep everything together. Hopefully you got 132 texts. If you didn't, please let us know. Was that okay? Were you okay with finding the z-score? You want to practice doing the z-score again? I tried. It worked for a second. Yay! Either which one, this one or that one? They just keep messing up. Is that all for the notes today? Yeah. Oh. Okay, I'm actually going to make you do one more thing. Yes, because I really want you guys to go off to the side really quick. And all I want you to do to get your homework is to find the z-score for